Good morning. My name is Chiara Regale. I'm VP of Product here at Forward. But today I am in the network engineering team. It's Friday. It's been already a long day for the network team, but the day is not over yet. I would like to go home, enjoy time with my family, but guess what? It's time for a schedule change window. A few days ago, the application team has opened a ticket saying, network team, the web server is unreachable. Go fix the problem. I will take advantage of this change window also to add a new device, to add a redundant internet firewall that will help me in case the primary will go down. After these changes, I need to quickly verify that my network still behaves as it's supposed to, without introducing connectivity problem, without introducing security breach. And I have to do the verification quickly, with confidence, and in an exhaustive way, to be 100% sure that nothing will break later on. I'm relying on Forward Networks to help me with these tasks. Shifting to the platform. There we go. I'm opening my network. As the rest of my team, I'm using the network that we explained earlier. Before the change window, I took a snapshot to validate the configuration and everything is fine. I also point your attention to the fact that this dot represents my single point of failure in the internet firewall. This will change after the change window. Ahead of time, I created an intent check to confirm whether I have connectivity from internet to the web server IP, specified here, for HTTPS. As expected, as reported by the application team, this check is failing. I did some troubleshooting before with Forward Networks, and I realized that I need to modify the firewall configuration, and I'll show you what's not correct. I'm opening the configuration. I'm verifying whether 443 is enabled in my access list. Okay, I'm good here. I try now to identify if I have any NAT going on to my web server. You may remember the IP of interest was 190.37.14.120. Guess what? It's not here. This is where I have to go and modify my firewall configuration. Not a problem. I go outside the platform, I make my modification, I connect the new firewall, then I go back to Forward and I'll take another snapshot right after the changes. Let me load it up for you. Number one, let me verify if the change management policy is now in compliance. I go into my intent checks, and here we go. What was red before is not now in green state. Success. Is this enough to be sure that nothing will break in the future? No, remember, I've added a new firewall. If I go back to the search interface, I can graphically see that from one dot, now I have a second firewall. I also see that I could connect the network. So it seems like the configuration could be okay. But how do I know that's for sure? Without Forward, I would have started doing scripting. Application test, reachability, security violation, connectivity test, it would have been a long and daunting task. Without having the confidence at 200% that everything would have been fine. Forward helped me also in this task. I'm going to use an application called behavioral diffs. And just to the question that happened before. So behavioral diffs allow us to select two arbitrary points of time, in my case before and after the change window, and change and see the deltas of whatever has changed in between. It's just not a textual search diff. That would be trivial, not only configuration. But I'm looking at the routing information. I'm looking at the device added or removed. I'm looking at the security posture. I'm looking at the intent. So whatever has contributed to the behavioral model, we are reporting it here. And we're pinpointing what has changed in this event. As we can see, we added a firewall, expected. We have some new interfaces. I had to connect the firewall together, expected. Let me look at the checks.
Excuse me, here
Sure.
you have added the firewall, correct?
Yes.
So instead of adding the firewall, can you do simulations basically? So if I add what happens, so future scenarios, can I simulate them?
As you see in Fabrizio's presentation, we can simulate a change on a firewall for access list, or on router and switches for access list or NAT.
A new element.
Not new element.
Okay.
We are considering this addition to the platform, but not at the moment. Okay. Let's go back to look at the intent. I have some policies configured. We already verified that what was broken before has been fixed in the change management window, but I also want to make sure I didn't introduce new problems with the new device. So let's see. I filter before something passed, and see if after something broke. Oh, no, I don't have the failed option. So it looks like I have not introduced any connectivity problem, or I have not introduced any security breach. I can also look at the VLANs that have been added. I know that on Firewall 1 I had 2 VLANs being configured. There we go, consistent also in Firewall 2. So in case of failover, I can guarantee that my traffic will take the new path. I can also inspect NAT entries. All right, so I see that I've added and changed on the firewall the new IP address, so I look good here as well. Now, after using behavioral diff, I can assert with confidence that my change is not broken the network. If I go back to the PowerPoint, sorry about that, okay. Very quickly, what did Forward help me today? 2 big problems. After a configured change, is the network fine? And what were all the deltas introduced by my network changes? For the first problem, I leveraged Forward Verify, an automated validation engine that gives me confidence that the network is in compliance at any point of time. And for the second problem, I used behavioral diffs. I'm so glad I could rely on Forward Network. In very few steps, I'm now confident that my network change was successful. I can now go home, enjoy the weekend, and not be worried about what happens in the Vandalist network.